Hello everyone, X-Wall Kill Bethelite here. And let me give you a scenario here. Let's say that you are a supervisor of a company and you have all these people that work under you. Well, you find out that a female, one of your female employees, that she had an affair, she had sex with another person in your department, right? Somebody under your authority. Well, you take that woman and you have her sit down in your office, right? And at the threat of discipline, some kind of a disciplinary write-up or up to termination, right? You ask her very embarrassing details about her sexual life. You don't just ask her, did you have sex with this other employee in our department? You ask her, where did he touch you? How many times did he touch you there? Okay, did you climax, right? How many times did you climax? See, if what I'm saying, if that were to happen, clear across the board, everybody in the United States of America knows that's wrong. Everybody really in the world knows. Everybody on the planet knows that's wrong. If I'm your supervisor and I set you down and ask you all kinds of details about your sex life, I'm talking graphic details, and you got to tell me otherwise, I'm going to discipline you. That's sexual harassment right there. That's a lawsuit right there. That's a lawsuit, right? This is something that everybody in the world knows, except in the realm of religion. We're pioneers, right? All of us. We are all pioneers because this is a dramatic new idea, particularly in the United States of America, that there should be all kinds of checks and balances inside religion, right? See, it's nothing to have checks and balance in the work sector, right? There's all kinds of things you can and you can't do in the work sector. You can't harass people sexually in the work sector. I'm not talking about just putting your hands on them. I'm talking even before that. I'm talking verbal. You can't verbally harass someone in the workplace sexually without there being some kind of a consequence, right? Because people have stepped up and said, hey, this is wrong. We're not having it. HR departments, they're clear. They're not going to stand for any kind of sexual harassment. You can't just even stare at a woman sexually in the workplace. They're not having it. They're not putting up with it, right? We've gotten that far as a society, but when we're talking about religion, all of us here, myself included, we're pioneering a really new radical idea, right? Do you mean to tell me that those things are also wrong in religion? Yes, they're wrong in religion. Jehovah's Witnesses have had things like this going on in kingdom halls for well over 100 years. Well over 100 years they've been sexually harassing people. Well over 100 years they've been doing things that anybody else would get sued. Any other company would get sued. Watchtower has been doing things that should have gotten them sued. And we need to speak up about it. We need to be on top of a mountain with a horn, making as much noise as possible to get reform with regards to freedom of religion. Freedom of religion shouldn't mean a religion can do anything it wants up to physically committing a crime, because there's no other freedom that I have that I can exercise freedom up to directly doing something illegal. For example, I don't know if you know who the rapper Young Thug is. Young Thug out of Atlanta, from my understanding, is in prison right now. And the prosecutors, they're going through rap lyrics, right? They're going through things he said verbally, right? From my understanding, they don't have video of him committing a crime. What they have is speech. But we've got freedom of speech up to a point. And we've got proof because Young Thug is in prison as I speak. And they got all his music. They're using his music in court. Music is regulated to a certain extent. All of our other freedoms are regulated to a certain extent. Except freedom of religion. In religion, you can sexually harass people. You can do anything you want. Freedom to bear arms. I can bear arms. I can't aim them at people. In religion, you can use religious weaponry, right? Threatening people with destruction, death and destruction. You can directly do that all you want. Scare them all you want. But with your freedom to bear arms, you can't use your firearm to do anything. That is extremely regulated. You can't do every other freedom everywhere is regulated except freedom of religion. That is a frontier untouched. Religion has to literally go out and somebody's got to be getting killed or literally hands put on a child or something like that. But other than that, they've got the freedom to do things that can't be done anywhere else, such as sexual harassment. I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness. I have seen elders get a woman one-on-one. They use their authority to, I need to talk to you. Get a woman one-on-one and start talking about her dress and how tight form-fitting it is, right? They're looking down at her waist area. I've seen it. Looking down at her waist area, talking about how tight it is and saying things that is inappropriate to say anywhere else, but it's okay. The woman clearly is not enjoying someone pointing out how tight her dress is. It doesn't matter if she doesn't like it. We can do it if we want. We can talk about how low her dress is. We can see her cleavage. We can say all kinds of things that if I go outside and say outside of religion, and this woman clearly is not appreciating what I'm telling her, and I go right on it. I got the authority to talk about your cleavage and your tight dress all I want. Yeah, I will end up in all kinds of trouble. Because as a society, we don't stand for it. We've got to take the same stand with regards to inside a church. Right? So elders for like over 100 years have been taking women, because people wonder why. Why are Jehovah's Witnesses obsessed with sex? Why are they obsessed with sex? Well, one reason, in my opinion, is that anytime a sexual act occurs, elders get to, it's like Pornhub for elders. Anytime you do something sexual, elders get a nice play-by-play. They get to take you in the back, take a woman in the back room and ask her, did he touch your breast? How many times did he touch your breast? Did he unclothe you? Right? Did he touch below your underwear? Did he take your underwear off? Did you climax? How many times did you climax? Like, they are able to do things that we know is wrong. Everybody knows is wrong. But when you say the word religion, the blindfolds come on. See no evil, hear no evil, right? When it comes to religion, it's see no evil, hear no evil. We just can't help it. Religion means we get to just let anything go rampant. Right? I have heard on more than a handful of occasions. Personally, I've been told that elders have used their authority to not just question people about sexual matters, get women to go off somewhere alone with them so that they can talk to them or question them sexually and get all in their business, get an explicit sexual story. You guys do realize, right, that there is a such thing as like phone sex, right? There's a such thing as people talking on the phone. There's like actual numbers. If to my knowledge, this thing is still going on. I remember it in the past, but there are actually phone numbers you can dial. And the whole purpose is to be sexually aroused just vocally. You're doing it on the phone so you don't see the person. The person's not touching you. It's been established that people can be aroused sexually through conversation. That's why all those years they had, I don't know what it's called, numbers that you dial and you listen and the person is saying things sexual. It's like phone sex. Whole companies are producing that stuff because we know people can be turned on verbally. So we've been allowing elders to have backroom sex. If you call talking to someone sexually over the phone sex, well, what's talking to someone sexually in the back room? Backroom sex. Elders have been able to have backroom sex for over 100 years. They're getting all kinds of girls, bringing them in the back room and asking them about their personal sex life. Now, should elders be able to, or any religion, should it be allowed to get up on a platform, get up on a stage and say, this is wrong, that is wrong? Sure. Get up and preach your teaching. Get up and preach your doctrine. Get up and preach that cult. But should elders be able to, at the threat of tarnishing someone's name, right? We're going to have a judicial hearing where we're going to judge whether or not we're going to get up on a platform and announce to everybody you know that they shouldn't be talking to you anymore. And we're going to use that authority to talk to you sexually, question you sexually. If I were to question any woman in your family, have you had sex? Where did he touch you? Did he touch you on your butt? Did he reach inside your panties? If I were to talk to anybody in your family like that, I'd probably get whooped all over, you know what I mean? I'd probably get whooped by every male in your family because we know it's wrong. But once a person walks into a church, something psychologically happens where our natural alarm, our natural alerts just go off. And we allow that same thing that we wouldn't let nobody else do to any woman in our family, we would let nobody else do. We allow it at the Kingdom Hall. Things that happen where you got Deshaun Watson right now, and he's been in trouble for the last couple years. And according to the courts, nothing criminal happened. He didn't rape nobody, but he's been in court for the last I don't know how many years about being inappropriate. See, as a society, we take a stand against, you ain't even got to doing something that would get you in trouble in a criminal court. But if you do something that is viewed as inappropriate, the National Football League is going to step in and possibly remove you from your workplace for a year or half the year or something to that effect, right? Everybody is alert, aware. They know what's going on with regards to those things, and they're trying to take steps to stop it. Well, what do you think things would be like if we didn't have those checks and balances? Sexual abuse would be going on rampant at the workplace. Sexual abuse would be going on rampant all over the place if we didn't have these checks and balances. We didn't have the authorities looking in to all these things and saying, hey, we're going to put a stop to this. Well, in religion, it's been running rampant for 100 years. So how bad do you think it is right now? It's bad. To this day, I've been told that elders were literally in their cars, like camped out outside people's houses to see if a woman's car ends up in a driveway with at a man's house. Right? That's stalking. Not only are they literally having backroom sex with women against their will. The women don't want to be given every detail of their sex life, but the elders are using their position of authority to make them do it or else. And then sometimes they make them basically perform backroom sex verbally, and then they get up on the platform and they still tarnish this person in front of everybody. Right? They don't just say this person had sexual intercourse. No, they damage this person's reputation to the point where their own family won't even talk to them. Right? They use the word disfellowship, and the word disfellowship should be outlawed. This is a word used to tarnish a person's reputation. It's a word used to defame someone's character. Defamation of character. Not only do we have blatant sexual abuse in the back rooms, and everywhere else elders are trying to get women by themselves so they can talk to them about stuff they ought not be talking to them about. But we also have blatant defamation of character. This is what happens when a freedom goes totally unchecked. Totally unchecked. Things start getting out of hand. And that's what's going on in religion. And we're pioneers. We're the ones pushing for a change that hadn't happened. We got change any and everywhere else. They're regulating abortion. Right? They're literally regulating pregnancies and whatnot. But religion, that's I'm telling you, it's an untouched frontier. Religions can do anything and everything up to physically murdering somebody or physically raping somebody. They can do anything up to that point. We don't allow that nowhere else. If a woman came back from her job and said that her boss was harassing her, we don't ask, did he physically hold you down and rape you? No. Did he cut you with a knife? No. Well, it's okay then. But that's what we do with religion. Did they take you in the back room and physically rape you? No. Did they take you in the back room and beat you with clubs? No. Well, it's okay then. It's okay that they took you back there and humiliated you and made you talk about things sexually that you didn't want to talk to a group of old men who are not trained counselors. Oftentimes they're not related to you. Right? They just a bunch of plumbers and a bunch of janitors back in the back room asking you a whole bunch of things about your sex life. We need to report this. We need brave women everywhere to stand up and report this. You can't use your authority to essentially get a hard on by taking women in the back room and sexually questioning them. You can't do that. We don't allow it anywhere else in the United States of America. It is not allowed to do things to women they don't want done to them at the threat of this or that. We don't allow it anywhere else, so it should not be allowed in religion. People shouldn't be able to use religious authority, right? And they can't even use it in the work sector as far as giving a person a promotion. Well, I'll give you a promotion if you do this or that. That's not even allowed. So to think that, a religion needs to be able to, and at the Australian Royal Commission, it was brought up. Why don't you at least, if you're going to be doing stuff like that, Jehovah's Witnesses, why don't you have a group of women question other women sexually? If you need a verbal play-by-play of everything that happened to realize whether something was wrong or not. And you had a governing body sit right there and say, no, we ain't changing nothing. We leaving it as is. Why? Because they need people to be elders, and one of the perks of being an elder is you get to essentially verbally, sexually harass anybody you want, anytime you want. Walk around talking about their clothes. I'm not joking when I'm talking about them staking out people's houses. That's I mean, come on now. There's people that have been questioned sexually. Well, how did the elders know? They were outside their house. While they was parked outside their boyfriend's house, the elders were outside the house following the car. This is ridiculous, people. We have got to, as a society, say that religion is not this little box where nothing bad can possibly happen. So we need no checks and balances. We don't need to step up and stand up against sexual harassment. We need people to report anytime an elder comes up to them and talks to them about their anything sexual, about their top. If they're talking to them about their dress and how tight it is and all that, if they're talking about things that would get a person aroused, you got to understand, put one and one make two. They're getting aroused by doing it. They're talking to you about things that they're getting pleasure from, and they're using that authority, and that authority gives them pleasure to be able to do things to people and abuse that authority. Right? We're on top of that everywhere else. Right? So we need people to report. Watchtower. If it's happened to you in the past, report Watchtower. Right? Look at the Bill Cosby case and other cases. Women are able to come forward about things that happened 30 years ago. I don't care when it happened. If elders brought you into a room and threatened you to do disciplinary acts to you or something to that effect, if you don't tell them every detail of what happened sexually, then that needs to be reported. Report Jehovah's Witnesses, report the people in that room who all was in that room, report all of them. There needs to be civil lawsuits. They may have disfellowshipped you anyway after putting you through all that. There's been women who have been raped, and then the elders take them in the back room and make them replay every detail of that rape. They need to be civilly sued We need every woman for the past 100 years that have been brought in the back room or cornered somewhere by some elder, and the elder is putting his hands on them, which I've seen that too, or the elder's using his authority to say things to him that he ought not be, or talking to them about their dress and their how tight fitting it is and all kinds of sexual things where they're getting a hard off on all that stuff. That needs to be addressed and it needs to be stopped. Otherwise, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. That's why Jehovah's Witnesses are obsessed with sex, because anytime it happens, the elders get to have backroom sex. 937-789-4029. Comment down below. I'm telling you, we need to report these things, not just talk about these things amongst one another. The authorities need to know this is going on. We need to report. I don't care how many times it's happened. Report it every time it's happened. Sue them civilly. I don't care that Jehovah's Witnesses don't want you to sue them. Sue them civilly. Take them to court. Watchtower will start listening. See, they wouldn't listen at the Royal Commission, but Watchtower start listening when it hits them pockets. Sue them for money, and then they'll start listening. Then they'll stop having elders say things inappropriate. There should be something in Watchtower where, just like HR, guidelines, you can't do certain things to people. There should be something like that within Watchtower where there's guidelines. Elders, y'all can't be sizing up sisters, looking them up and down and telling them this and that and bringing them in back rooms and all this stuff. That's got to stop. Comment down below. X-Wall Kill Bethelite signing out.